on the lower level of the bus and you can hear me okay, let me know. All right, you got even some cheering, waving, very nice. And kicking things off here on the right, it's the American flamingos, the largest, most brightly colored of the flamingos. But wait, I hear you say, tour guide, Sam, hang on. Some of those flamingos are not large and they're not brightly colored. What's the deal? Well, what you're looking at are younger flamingos. Obviously, it takes them a little while to grow up. Also, what makes flamingos turn pink? They're actually not naturally or initially pink birds. They're white with brown and black feathers. What makes them turn pink? Their food, correct. They eat crustacean like shrimp, which makes sense because what color is shrimp when you cook it? Pink. There you go. Gosh, tour guide Sam, you're really clever. Yeah, that's true. But anyway, as we continue on, we'll also see wildlife from our 8 conservation hubs all over the world. And so thank you for being our allies as we strive for a world where all life thrives. Ahead of us, if you keep going, you'll run into some construction fences. When you come back and visit in the spring, all of our Wildlife Explorer base camp should be open. As it is, 2 areas have already opened up, the Komodo dragons and the hummingbird aviary. Has anybody seen either or both of those? You did? Which one did you like better? The Komodo one? Okay, fair enough. I like the hummingbird aviary very much myself. They're both really good. Now, in order to make sure that you can come back and visit us again this spring, when you're on this bus, make sure to keep arms, legs, heads, kids, cameras, anything you might want to take home with you tonight, maybe your spouse, inside the bus at all times. If you're going to stand up on the bus today, stand with both feet on the floor of the bus and hold on to something solid like the bus itself. Guardians of smaller children, make sure you keep them secure at all times. And folks in the upper level, how you doing upstairs?
Doing good.
Good, all right. Make sure to stay forward of the rear seat and off the back stairwell at all times. The only exception is a medical emergency, in which case I will call security immediately to come and help out. Other than that, kick back, relax, enjoy the ultimate tour here. Now, up the hillside on the left there, way up on top of the other side, is one of my favorite animals, the giant Galapagos tortoises. Anybody else love the tortoises? Yeah? Okay, couple folks, thank you for coming out of your shells. I hope you laughed at that one because they don't get funnier as the tour goes on.
Oh, sure.
Basically dad jokes the whole time. Yeah. But, you like dad jokes? You're going to love my tour.
I'm excited.
Everybody else is jumping off. You're like, no. Anyway, don't do that. Now, on the serious side, the tortoises are endangered. So, to make sure that they don't become extinct in the near future, the zoos put them in the Pacific Islands, the conservation hub. Well, because you came to visit today. Hear that? That was the tiger roaring. Pretty cool, huh? Even if you can't see, you can hear him. And all this is also made possible by our members. Any members on the bus? Yep, several folks in up front there, very nice. And there's folks that are generous one-time donors, also folks that contribute monthly to the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance. And you can find out more about that at the website, sdzwa.org. But even better, if you download the San Diego Zoo app on your cell phone, the app lets you not only find out about the zoo, but also has an interactive map that helps to guide you around. So it's really, really very handy. And it also means that it's more convenient than using the paper maps, and you are greener because you're not using the paper maps. Now, we've gone into a third conservation hub. This is the African forest. I'm going to roll up. We might get a view of the hippo right about here. You can see a little bit. There's generally folks that are standing, look at the hippos, so it's a little tough to see it there. But now, ways where the hippos are than live out in the savannah with the lions. So there's just a lot more interaction between people and hippos. This is exactly the sort of challenge facing wildlife and communities. We coming up to the intersection and stop sign on the right. After the tour, if you want to go up and possibly see the monkeys, although it looks like they're in for the night. You go up the roadway here to the right, over the bridge where the monkeys are, and up the path to the hippo and tiger. If you continued up the roadway to the right, you get to the red pandas, and on the corner to the right, Asian cats, and straight ahead of us, Eagle Hill. Over on the left, though, check out these familiar-looking birds on the left, standing on one leg. What are those birds on the left, standing on one leg? Flamingos, right?
Yeah.
But why do flamingos stand on one leg like that? Balance? No, if they lifted up both, they'd fall over. I did tell you about the jokes not getting better, right?
No.
I still love it.
Or ones were on. But what's different about these flamingos, the ones you saw in the main plaza? Much lighter pink color. What would cause that? Not enough vitamin D? That's cancer. I thought maybe we left them out in the sun, they got bleached. I hate when that happens. Actually, it's again location and diet. These are African flamingos. The ones in the main plaza are American flamingos. They both eat plenty of crustacean like shrimp, tends to turn them pink. But the African flamingos also eat a lot more algae, which is a water plant. It doesn't turn them pink. Now, to the left there, you'll see kangaroo bus stop number 2. On your maps, kangaroo bus stops look like small black squares with yellow kangaroo logos on them. There are also a lot of red circles with numbers on the maps, and those are map locations. And after we pull ahead from the stop sign here on the right, if you look above the stop sign on the right, you'll see 16 in one of those red circles. So that's a map location. Now the difference is if you wait at a kangaroo bus stop for about 15 minutes, kangaroo bus will come by. It's possibly a double deck like this one, it might be a single deck, but it will always have a yellow sign on the front of it that says, I'll do a visual aid. Kangaroo bus, right. Folks upstairs are like, what's he doing? Holding me all the time, so kangaroo bus. So show the kangaroo bus, or you wait for the kangaroo bus driver to get the bus opened up, hop on board and ride around all the other stops. Now, you know what happens if you wait at a map location 15 minutes? Right, nothing. You're just standing there. On the right, there's a grubby zebra. Just actually there's two under the green awning here on the left part of the exhibit. Tour guide saying, how do you know it's a grubby zebra? All zebra have stripes. Well, that's true. The way you identify a zebra is looking at the stripes on their rump. The grubby zebra there have thin, fine stripes. That's how you know it's a grubby zebra. They are the only endangered species of zebras. After that, on the right, you've got the Sphinx gazelle, the little animals in the exhibit. The larger ones, if you see them with the white stripes, are the lesser curlew. Now, I mentioned the San Diego Zoo Safari Park. It's huge. It's 18 times bigger than the zoo. 800 acres of it is devoted to a biodiversity reserve and native wildlife corridor, which is very important because San Diego County has more endangered species than any other county in the United States of America. So the San Diego Zoo Safari Park Biodiversity Reserve and Native Wildlife Corridor is an important part of the Southwest Conservation Hub. On the right, a lot of the hood signs like the Bonspach here that we're looking at is from Africa, and along with the lions, part of the Savannah Conservation Hub. One exception to the African animals along here is coming up at the top. These are the Chicoan peccaries. They're pig-like animals from South America representing the Amazonian Conservation Hub. True pigs come from Europe, Africa, and Asia. The animals like in the Americas are called javelina. As we round the corner here at the top, On the left, you might see our giant anteaters, also part of the Amazonian Conservation Hub. And coming up ahead on the right, it's Elephant Odyssey, and also the Bashor Bridge to the Lost Forest, but maybe not the most delicate time. If you look over here on the right, we've got our maned wolf possibly expressing their opinion of my tour, but they are beautiful. They are not wolves, though. They do have that mane and black fur down the neck, but they're actually omnivores. Most of what they eat is plant. Wolves are true carnivores, so they're a separate member of the canine family. Now, I was telling you about the Bashor Bridge coming up on the right. That takes you over to the gorillas and an elevator down to the lower part of African rocks and to the red pandas. Most folks can get from Stop 3 across the bridge to the main plaza in well less than 10 minutes, so it's a great way to get back and forth across the zoo, particularly as the Kangaroo bus service is no longer operating by the time we get you back. Coming up on the right, it's the African lion. Now we'll have the male, he's kind of walking around the front left corner of the exhibit here, partly behind the plant. I'm going to roll up, there's a break in the plant, and hopefully he'll continue to kind of walk up and down this way. There you go. He's just about even with the front of the bus, and walking back and forth there, so we'll continue rolling up and you'll get a chance to see him periodically. Now, you come to the San Diego Zoo and take photos of our lions. Folks go to places like Kenya, Africa, and take photos of their lions. They upload these photos for scientists. And this project has been so successful. There's a huge backlog of photos, and you can help with that. If you go to wildwatchkenya.org, wildwatchkenya.org allows you to examine the photos, identify the animals in them, and with your citizen science, you pioneer scientific information like the zoo does. So check out wildwatchkenya.org and help your friend the lion there. They do need the help. Their population has decreased dramatically in recent years.
Cool.
As we continue on through Elephant Odyssey here, the overall area that we're going around is about 5.5 acres. The elephants area specifically covers a little over 2 acres.
What the heck is that?
We've got one of our African male elephants out there. We have two. One's about 10 years old. I think that's a 10-year-old. There's a 9-year-old there. But what's something that's missing from that elephant you might expect to be seen? And how about that tusk? Yeah. Yeah, now,
Oh, I see.
it has to do with what part of the body the tusk is. What part of the body is the tusk? Right. Now, you probably know somebody that has had to go to the dentist to get a tooth removed, right? They might have gotten cracked or chipped or broken or infected or whatnot, had to be taken out for their health. Same thing for any animal that has teeth, including elephants there. Now, that's important for the animal's health and our health. But one of the most tragic things about elephants is that they get poached or killed illegally so that people can pull out those ivory tusks. And it's never more tragic than when a mother elephant is poached and her baby or babies are orphaned. Folks all over the world are concerned about this, including people in Africa that live near elephants just like that one. They started the Reteti Elephant Sanctuary, and
Fortnite.
part of what they do at the Reteti is to try and save orphan baby elephants. Now, this is a big challenge, no pun intended, but what's the one thing that babies drink a lot of? Milk. Can you imagine how much milk a baby elephant drinks? And milk, of course, is vitally important. How do you... Now, there's a challenge with that, and I'll tell you more about that in just a moment, because here on the right, we've got our secretary bird, type of eagle from Africa. And in the background, I see a couple of our elephants moving around in the outdoor area there. So we're going to roll ahead, see if you can go over on the other side of the wall to see the elephants a little bit better. Yeah, you can kind of see one of our African female elephant there in profile, and the Asian one not very flattering to you, I'm sure. Again, we're going to go past the wall and hopefully get a nice view of that African female elephant. Now, here's the challenge with milk. The milk that babies drink changes over time. The milk that a newborn baby drinks is very different than the milk that a baby is drinking a week or a month later. How do you figure this out for elephants? You need milk samples, but anybody want to go volunteer to try and milk a wild mother elephant like that one? Yeah, well, you'll have a very short, exciting time. But fortunately, we figured out a much better option. At the safari park, we work with the elephants so closely, we have mother elephants voluntarily give us milk samples throughout their lactation period. We can then analyze that, send the information to the retention people who adjust the milk formula so that each baby elephant is having the proper formula milk for their age. And this is a great example of how the alliance works. One of our conservation or allies inspired us to collaborate and find an innovative solution so that wildlife could thrive. As we come up here, we're going to get a look at an Asian female elephant, notably smaller generally than the African female elephants. And you'll also notice that Asian female elephants normally don't have tusks poking out of their mouth. In fact, the tusks are so small that they're not even called tusks. You know what they're called? Tushes. Yeah. So an Asian female elephant has a tush face. It's the only thing you kids will remember from the tour. Oh well. Know your audience. Now to the left, we have our butterfly conservation laboratory, and it's working to save the Quito checker-spotted butterfly, which is a local endangered species of butterfly here in San Diego, part of the Southwest Conservation Area. Also, here on the right, we've got our one-humped or dromedary camel. Yeah, now there's also the two-humped or Bactrian camels, but if one of these one-humped camels and a two-humped camel had a baby and it didn't have any humps, what would you call that? A horse. Humphrey. Wow. You still with me on these jokes? You're nodding, but I'm not. All right. Got one. All right. Fair enough. Anyway, as we continue on along, trying to recover from that one, up ahead here on the very top of the exhibit on the right, California condors, big type of vulture, and they are nature's cleanup crew. They eat animals that have been dead so long that nothing else wants to eat them. You know, like whatever that thing was you found in the back of the refrigerator 10 months too late. Yeah. Well, you can imagine what your refrigerator would be like if no one is around to clean it up. Yeah. Smelly, a lot of germs. There were only 22 of the birds left back in the 1980s, which is less than the number of people on the bottom of this bus. So the San Diego Zoo helped to start an alliance to save them that includes folks from all over the condor's original range, both in this country and Mexico. Ranchers, farmers, hunters, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the Equivalent Service in Mexico. Well, that has been so successful that there are now, from 22, there's now well over 400 California condors. And more than half are back in the wild, helping to keep the outdoors clean and disease-free for you and your kids and your pets. So, involving government and conservation work is a vital part of the Wildlife Alliance. To the right, the African rock cope habitat, that and the hoofstock and lions that we saw earlier, all part of the conservation, the Savannah Conservation Hub. To the left, we've got 22 different kinds of bananas growing there. There's guavas and dragon fruit. Remember I said we're making a big loop around the zoo? Right there? That's the fruit loop. Wow, now you're not even smiling. Okay.
I'm always smile.
Now on the right, it is the Ethiopian Highland Gardens area of Africa Rocks, representing the northern part of sub-Saharan Africa. The way Africa Rocks works is you start at the top here, you're in the north part of the continent. As you go down further, you get further and further south on the continent. Now, the Ethiopian Highlands are one of my favorite areas in the world because they are the origins of, or the origin of one of my favorite things, and probably something you've had today, maybe something you'd like right now. Anybody know what that is?
I don't
Coffee.
know. Oh, coffee.
All right, yeah, I was just going to ask.
For
Anybody
you,
like
Desmond.
coffee? Somebody's getting pointed at. Nice. Well, I found out something about coffee plants that surprised me. The plants that grow the beans that we roast to make coffee. Coffee plants are actually understory plants. They grow best and the beans grow slower and denser in the shade of other plants and trees. Problem comes in when some folks, in order to make a quick buck, cut down the plants and trees and plant the coffee plants in the shade of, in the direct sun. The coffee grows quicker, but the beans are not as dense. You're getting less coffee per bean, and in fact, sort of getting cheated that way. I look for shade-grown coffee. Shade-grown coffee encourages farmers to plant coffee in the shade of existing forests, woodlands, jungles, whatever happens to be around, so the existing natural ecology continuously replenishes the soil. It's a chance for us to get better coffee beans and encourage sustainable agriculture, benefiting not only the ecosystem, but also the long-term economic health of the communities, the people in those areas. So our choices as consumers have a powerful effect on conservation. As we continue on down the hill here, just here on the very back left corner of the exhibit, one of our Indian bears looks like she's got a bone and she's busy knocking it around to try and get the marrow out. Yeah. Now, Indian bears are the only bears native to South America, and the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance is the only organization studying them extensively. The Indian bear is another representative of the Amazonian conservation. Coming up along the hillside on the left, it's the Hawaiian native plant garden. The ecology of islands like Hawaii is often wiped out when non-native species are introduced. So the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance is helping to support not only Hawaiian native animals like the alala or the Hawaiian crow, but also the native plants, the basis of the food chain. Both are part of the Pacific Island Conservation Hub along with the Galapagos tortoises. But neat little tie-in. For the folks that love coffee, anybody love Hawaiian coffee like Kona coffee? You like that? Well, the good news is a lot of Kona coffee is shade-grown. So if you're going to be drinking coffee, why not drink shade-grown Kona coffee? And you're also helping to save the beautiful Hawaiian plants and animals that we all love.
No, I said about coffee.
As we continue on down the hill here, oh my goodness, look at this great view of our sloth bears.
Sloth
They're
bear.
from South Asia and spend a lot of time up in trees. Unfortunately, this makes them vulnerable to illegal logging. And there is, again, fortunately, something we can do as consumers to help with that. Due to a wonderful international organization called the Forest Stewardship Council, FSC. FSC works with communities that live near trees so they can manage the resource for their long-term economic benefit and protect their ecosystem. What we can do is look for forest products with the FSC logo on them. And it's not only things like wood and lumber you might be thinking of, but also paper products. I've seen the FSC logo on bathroom tissue. And every time you buy something with that FSC logo, you're helping to save wonderful and fun bears like those sloth bears. I was telling you about a Hawaiian plant. There's a plant coming up on the left side of the bus, especially that is near and dear to the heart of many Hawaiians, and also something I bet you've eaten recently and you're not going to recognize. If you look just at the front of the bus here on the left, you'll see some plants that sort of look like corn, but this one here has got these beautiful bell-shaped, pearly white flowers. See that? The Hawaiian word for that plant is amapuhi. Anybody know what the mainliner name is? Ginger. Oh, wow. Yeah, who knew? But most of the time, folks are familiar with the below ground part of the ginger, the so-called ginger root, which is actually a stem. But that's what it looks like above ground. And in many varieties of ginger, like the nice big patch coming up here on the right, the smell is actually in the above ground part. So people will plant it close to where they live. And when they brush against it, they can get that wonderful gingery smell. Now, speaking of wonderful smells and flavors, coming up on the left is the Kwame Cafe. And it's got Asian and fusion food, including a dish with ginger sauce. Now, you can feel good about food and merchandise you buy at the zoo, since the zoo's non-profit, it helps the plants and the animals. Yeah, all right, well, I love fish, I love penguins, and I don't want my fish dinner to compete with the penguin for its dinner. The way I do that is by using the Seafood Watch app. The Seafood Watch app on my cell phone allows me to type in the name of whatever fish or seafood I'm thinking about getting and instantly find out what the best source is. Sometimes it might be farm raised, sometimes it might be wild caught, and sometimes there may be some other fish or seafood I've never heard of that tastes just as good or better and is more sustainable. What did tour guide Sam say about the markings of these? Remember? Keep going, remember where you are. Jaguars are only found in the Americas, part of the Amazonian Conservation Hub. Leopards like that, and cheetahs are only found in Africa and Asia. How about that? Now, we've covered almost all the conservation hubs. We're coming up to the last one here on the right, the Australian forest. Now, generally, we got a great view of the forest from the tour, but not so much the flawless. You can go around to the Australian outback area after the tour and check them out. Yeah, let's see. What was that? Big fires. Right. Yeah. In fact, at one point, there was a fire the size of the continental United States going. Fortunately, the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance was able to take quick and effective action because we've been associated with koalas in Australia for almost 100 years. So we know who to work with, and folks know and trust the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance, so we were able to fundraise and quickly send all those funds to Australia for folks to do things like train koala rescue dogs. It's a great example of how your support makes a positive difference. As we roll over to the left here, coming up on the right, Down the roadway is the urban jungle, a chance for you to see the giraffes, the rhinos, cheetahs, koalas, all that good stuff. Thank you for coming through our front door today, taking the ultimate tour. That helps us to form strong global partnerships and collaborate with allies all over the world to provide world-class wildlife care and inspire innovative conservation methods so that we can rescue wildlife like the koalas worldwide. Protecting wildlife ecosystems and communities starts with your visit today and goes out to our 8 conservation hubs around the world. There's plenty we can do together to protect wildlife, like buying shade-grown coffee, using the Seafood Watch app, joining the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance to continue the important support you started by visiting today. You can find out more about that by scanning the QR code on the back of your maps or navigating around your San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance app. So again, thank you for being our ally as we strive for a world where all life thrives. Coming up to the unloading dock here, if you want to go back and look for the Australian area, African area, or urban jungle, turn left. If you want the restrooms, stroller parking, main plaza, and the exit, turn right. I'm going to be opening up the lowest level of the bus first. Quick as I can, I'll get upstairs and let you folks off the front of the bus. So until then, just sit back. Bye-bye, everybody.